We're here to clean a very filthy ST400i. This tool has had around about 13,000 shots through it, and we're just going to walk you through the process. So the first thing we do is we make the tool safe by taking out the battery and the fuel cell by pressing the eject button. So no accidental discharge. We make sure that there's no staples in the tool. And we're going to relieve it in the up position so that it won't lock out. We now do the quick release guide and remove the nose piece, and so this is so we can get easy access to the driver blade during the cleaning process. We now remove the cover by twisting it anti-clockwise. Now remove that, put it to one side, and the air filter, which we can see is nice and filthy. Next stage is to remove, with an Allen key, remove the 4 bolts covering the cover. Now these are quite long bolts, and so you definitely have to unscrew them. You can take and put them to one side, but we recommend that you just leave them there with the assembly piece so that you don't lose them. You just put them safely to one side. We now have, we look at the end and we can see the fan unit and the ignition. So Des, can you please remove the ignition? And we remove the fan. Okay, and now we can lift out that unit in one piece and put it to one side. Remove the spacer. And now we can see inside the cylinder and the state that it's in. So that needs a good clean to remove carbon and the burnt oil that's in there. So to do that, we use Pazload degreaser. And the first thing we want to do is get a long screwdriver and use the handle to press the cylinder all the way down. And by the squeaking you can see that it needs a lubrication and a clean. Right, Des is now going to clean that all out and get rid of all the carbon and build up. We'll start on the outside. Now this is specially designed for our Pazload tools so that it won't affect the electronics, it doesn't have any residue, and it clears both the oil and the carbon. Now Des is going to slightly invert the tool so that it'll all drain out as he sprays it. That means you don't get residue caught in the bottom. You can push the driver blade up. Let's see how the assembly goes. Does that need a bit more of a clean, Des?
Maybe just a little, but other than that, not too bad.
Okay.
Squeak's gone.
And when the degreaser's in there, you can rub around with putting your finger inside or using a rag to help get out some of the residue.
That'll dry off pretty quick.
Okay. So we put that to one side and let it dry. And now we need to do the same thing by decreasing the fan unit. because these tools can get quite dusty in the outside conditions, you can spray off the fan area and the ignition unit as well. It won't harm the electronics. Make sure those clips are moving nice and smoothly. That aside to dry, and then we do the filter. And the filter we're spraying from the inside out. And you can use the same cleaner, or with the filter you can wash it out with soapy water. Just takes a little longer. Put that to one side. Right, now that we've cleaned the tool, we'll just give it a wipe down. To lubricate it. So for that we use Paslow lubricating oil. Now this is specially designed for our cordless tools. So we run that down the inside of the cylinder. And then we can run it around the outside of the ring, so there's no harm in putting more lubricant than you think is necessary in these tools. And down here on the outside of those rings as well.
So. Just got to get that apart to get them on.
Okay, now if we can move that driver blade up and down, we use the flat end of a screwdriver to push the driver blade out.
That's it.
And then use the flat end. And that is helping lubricate the inside of the cylinder and the rings on the outside of the driver blade.
Nice and smooth now.
Okay. Now before we go further, we'll put the nose piece back on, and that'll enable us to fully depress the cylinder. Depress that slightly. And so now we can depress the nose and we can see how we can get a seal in the combustion chamber. And that enables us to put lubricant around the outside more easily. Okay. So now it's been lubricated, so we can put the tool to one side and we can lubricate the fan and ignition unit. So the key here is you want to make sure that the rings have got their splits on opposite sides. And to lubricate lubricate the shaft of the fan as well.
The fan.
Yeah, just the shaft. Alright, so that's ready to assemble. So first thing we'll do is we'll put the spacer back in. Spin it around, lift it up. So the smooth part of the spacer always faces the top of the tool. Push the ignition back in, the fan, and just push down on the lug so that'll hold.
There you go.
That's right, and the lug is up to the top. Filter back in. Now the filter only goes one way. Right, and your ST400i is now being cleaned and reassembled, and it is ready to go. Thank you, Jess.
No worries.